to Batesville, growing up, and how do you get to Memphis?
I mean, it was a crazy process. It's just I went to a camp, ran my 40. They offered me on the spot.
On the spot, just like that.
Yeah, so I just decided to stick with them and committed to them, and I just stuck with them and signed with them on signing day.
And you were at the camp, so you were on campus. You got to take a look around for a little bit, but how did it feel coming back, not just being a fan of Memphis and just aware of Memphis, but now you're a part of the team that second time you came back to campus?
I mean, it was just a blessing, and for me to go to school free and to help my family keep money in their pocket is just something special, and it was just an unbelievable opportunity, and I wouldn't trade Memphis for nothing.
Your father was heavily influential in your life. How has he helped you get to this point?
I mean, he always made me work for everything. So when I got to Memphis, I knew how to work. I knew what it took for to be successful because he taught me all them things growing up. And he taught me the ropes, and I just took that with me to Memphis.
You're out in Memphis. You're in a new state. You're a college football player. You got classes. You're on your own for the first time. How long did it take you to get comfortable?
I mean, it wasn't nothing big. It's just like high school. You got to go to class, and you're a student first, then you're an athlete. So I already knew like I had to get my grades first, because if you don't get your grades, you're not gonna be eligible to play football. So you got to get them grades to be able to play the game that you love.
Football's football, but obviously college football is a whole another monster than high school football. And there's always that moment for college football players where the game finally slows down, everything clicks, you start feeling more comfortable. How long did it take you to get to that point?
I mean, it just started. To me, I thought it was just a mindset. Like if you go in with the right mentality, you're able to do anything you put your mind to. And I just took that mindset and ran with it. Like I felt like whoever's in front of me, I was gonna whoop them. And that's how you gotta approach the situation. And I did it.
Yeah, you did. And to add to that natural chip on your shoulder, you know, you were told that your size was gonna be an issue, and then here you stand trying to rack up as many yards and run over as many people as you can along the way. How did that chip on your shoulder motivate you up to?
It's just that chip, it pushed me to a whole nother level that I thought I didn't have in me. And for me to be told that I was too small, that I wasn't gonna be nothing and I wasn't gonna do nothing in college, it just motivated me, and it just made me angry. So I ran anger on the field, and whoever got in front of me, my job was to destroy them, because they're gonna try to destroy me. So I'd rather put them on my highlight tape than be on theirs. So.
That's a good way to put it. And now here you sit, a Super Bowl contending team traded up to get you. You know, pressure has been nothing for you in the past, but what was it at Memphis that molded you so that you're ready for this moment?
It's just Memphis is grit and grind. Like, you go to any other program, they get stuff given to them. At Memphis, they make you work for everything. We have none at Memphis, so you got to get it out the mud. And Memphis will humble you and make you even more hungry. And like, it's just Memphis taught me how to work even harder.
And because of that, there seems to be a natural bond among Memphis players, especially in the locker room.
We like at Memphis, like our slogan was "We all we got." So we knew that everybody was against us. Like Memphis was once a basketball program, and so now it's football and basketball. So we turned the program around, and like we already knew that we was all we got, and so that what made us play better and start winning games, because once your locker room is one whole, you play better. But once the locker room divide, then you got people playing for themselves instead of playing for each other.
And two people holding that locker room together was yourself and your brother in the backfield, Tony Pollard. Two Memphis running backs taken in the same draft. How special is that for the program?
Man, it just shows you that Memphis is on the rise, and that people think that if you go to a smaller school than the SEC, that you'll get overlooked. But I'm here to tell you that you can go anywhere and get drafted. You can go to South Dakota, anywhere, and play. As long as you production, the NFL gonna find you.
And is that what you would say to maybe a high school kid right now who feels like he has the talent but's getting overlooked?
I tell them all the time, like, they be talking about they have no SEC offer. I said, look how I did. Like, I went to Memphis. I stayed hungry. I stayed positive, and I worked. And the NFL found me. Like, NFL gonna find you no matter what. Like, they know players when they see them. So that's my advice to them. Like, you gotta go take something. Like, they ain't gonna give you nothing.
Coach Fuente is the one that recruits you and brings you in, and you naturally form that bond with your first coach, and he leaves for an opportunity, and Coach Novell comes in. What was that transition like for you?
I mean, it was hard at first when he left. I thought about going like to a junior college, but Coach Novell called me the day he got a job, and he wanted to meet me the next day. So I went to Memphis, I met with him, and I got a feel for him. I was like, this is my guy. So I went to Memphis, I trusted him, and he's a great coach, and everything that he taught me is gonna forever stick with me, and the bond that we built, it was gonna forever stick with me, and he taught me how to be a man, and I respect Coach Novell to the fullest, and he always gonna be a great person in my life.
And if you look back to the time when he first got there to now, your game on the field, what are you most proud of that he helped add to your toolkit?
I mean, Coach Novell, he helped me mature at an early age because he stuck me out there early. And he just, like, it take that one time for you to get hit, and it make you, like, realize that this game for real.
Yeah.
And that's all it took. And he put me in the best position possible. Like, all his players, just not me, he put everybody in the perfect spot, and he gonna make you work for everything, and he's just gonna do what's best for you.
You had a lot of success over your career, but what was the moment, the game, the practice, the play where you said, you know what, if I keep this up, I'm gonna be playing on Sundays?
I mean, it was just like every kid dream growing up is the NFL. And, like, you get to watch NFL games and you go watching highlights and you be like, I want to be like this person. And then, like, you go out there each and every Saturday and you proving yourself, and you know you got a chance because they're gonna give you opportunity if they see you producing. I stuck with it, and when that time came, I pulled the trigger on it.
The next time you watch a Memphis game, it's going to be the first time in a while that you weren't able to suit up with them. What are you going to miss most?
It's just the brotherhood. Like, that college bond is something special because that's your first time away from home, and they're away from home too, so all y'all have, so y'all depending on each other. And so I'm going to miss those guys that are playing next year, and I'm going to miss the coaches, and the Memphis fans, like, they special. Like, to me, I think we got the best fans in the country.
Yeah.
'Cause
Now
they love you when you're down, and they love you when you're high.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you leave, and Tony leaves, two workhorses. Before you left that locker room for the last time, who did you pass the reins to in that backfield?
I mean, everybody knows who the workhorse is now, Patrick Taylor. Hey, he's a dog, and this is gonna be his year. He probably the best running back in college football to me. Like, he have the potential to do something special, and he gonna lead that team this year.
And if I went to that running back room and I asked, what's the number one thing you took from Darryl, what would it be?
It's just probably the way I practice, like I approach practice like this game. I work hard and I finish like the last rep hard.
Well, like you said, it's been a journey. You were told you were undersized, proved that wrong. You went to a small school, not a lot of success was expected. You guys proved all of college football wrong. Who motivated you through all that? Who are you looking up to?
It's just my parents, and then you go back like last year, my junior year. The season was started, I'm looking at the smaller backs like Kareem Hunt. You got Trina Holiday, he played, he was small.
Fastest
and it's
guy in the
just,
world,
you
man.
see that the way those guys carry themselves on the field, like they go out each and every week to prove down the road that they belong in the NFL, even though they're small. And that helped motivate me, that size don't matter. It's all about what you have in here. And if you gotta have a strong mentality, and that helped push me. And my dad always stayed on me, make sure that I'm always making the right decision.
So back in high school, Columbia, Missouri, did any other school actually have a chance versus the one that was right down the road?
No, yeah, there was other schools. My dad, being that he went to Missouri too, a lot of people ask me if, like the same question, your dad went there, there's no way you're going to other schools. I actually, he stayed pretty neutral in it all, so did I. I wanted to try to find the best fit for me, and, when we started looking at everything, it just so happened the best fit for me was, right down the road, a couple hours.
And what was that X factor that ended up being? If it wasn't family ties, what
Yeah.
was it? Was it the first game that you saw? Did you check out a spring practice? When did it click? Nope, done deal. This is my future home.
Yeah, this is kind of a funny story when all that happened. There's a lot of thought of me going to Tennessee and everything, and it kind of got brought up. Where my dad put it like this: he's like, imagine you having a girlfriend, breaking up with your girlfriend, and seeing another man take your girl. Like literally, see another man go take your girl. And Missouri is my baby growing up.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Missouri. So when I got to thinking about it, there was no other person that I thought should play quarterback for that school while I was in college, and that ended up. If your heart's not in it, then there's no other place for you. So my heart was in Missouri, and I had to stay there, and hopefully brought the team back a little bit. Yeah.
You're obviously familiar with the program already. You're familiar with the campus, but what was it like after signing the dotted line, showing up in the summer or spring and saying, oh, I actually go here now?
Yeah, it was one of my first shocking moments with that was probably when I did my first video for like the Mizzou football account.
Yeah.
And it was me and my little freshman ID, had super long hair, and I was like, yo, everybody, this is Drew, I'm just moving into the dorms. And they did like a full move-in video of me, and it was like, holy cow, I'm actually doing like kind of an advertising thing for the university now. And it was definitely weird because my parents were there, my sister was there, and it was my first time on campus. So, but it was fun.
And you really had to adjust to the college life while adjusting to college football. You were thrown in the fire right away. You had an opportunity to start and you took it. So talk about balancing that. I mean, really being an adult for the first time while also going up against some SEC competition as a freshman.
Yeah, that was one of the big things besides, the other factors is that I thought I could play early at Mizzou. And, there's a little bit of loyalty there too, being the hometown guy. So being able to play early, hometown guy, finally got to play, that first year and played early, and, trying to balance being a young freshman who had probably 3 other guys that were actually playing, and everybody else was going out, going to parties, not doing anything. They're lifting in the morning and then just chilling all day. And you know, I had a lot of responsibilities put on me. I had to grow up really, really quickly. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is a lot. And you know, at the end of it, I got to my senior year and thought about how different, you know, life would have been if I didn't go through those things my freshman year. So, you know, looking back on it, when people ask me about it, there wasn't a thing I would change, because I'd rather learn through the tough times early than, you know, learn through the tough times, you know, later in my career and maybe not be the quarterback that I am now.
You know, not a lot of people talk about that. A lot of guys can play early, but nobody really is vulnerable enough to talk about, you know, you're only human. You do want to go out with some of the redshirt guys. You do want to go to that party. You sometimes wish you weren't at the hotel at the away game, because everyone's, you know, out there having fun. So what kept you locked in and said, no, this is the path for me and this is going to pay off in the future?
Yeah, the bottom line, that, you know, these 4 years, you know, partying will always be there. You know, there's times to relax, there's times to go on a beach vacation, there's time to actually have a spring break, there's times to actually have a summer vacation. And you know, when you're prime and you want to make this a career, that's just kind of the mentality you have to have. We did a thing in Denver a couple of days ago, and you know, lonely was kind of one of the words that you brought up, but it was a good lonely. You had to make decisions based on, you know, what career you wanted to go into, not based on, you know, what was going on that night, or, you know, I'm a little tired today, I might want to take a nap. No, that's just not how things work. You had a different future in mind, so that's the thing that kept me going.
And clearly, the rest of your teammates saw this out of you, because even as a freshman, you made some kind of impact, not just on the field, off the field, because you're voted a captain as a sophomore. So what do you think it was that your teammates saw in you, even just as a young buck still trying to figure out the quarterback position?
Yeah, I think they saw how much I cared, not just for the university and, you know, for the game of football, but for the people that were in that locker room as well. We had a lot of adversity that we went through that freshman and that sophomore year, and especially that freshman year. And I think for a young guy to stay true to his guns, to, you know, to work hard and, you know, be that guy for that university, to, you know, honestly, I would take the blame for a lot of things that went down. Whether that was after the game or during practice, we had a bad practice day, that was on me. And I think kind of that leadership style was what really ended up winning those guys over. They knew that, you know, I was going to have their back regardless of what, you know, what good or what bad that they did. And that's definitely the quarterback that I am.
And you sitting here now, if you could go back and talk to freshman year Drew, with the haircut,
yeah.
moving into the dorm, what advice would you give him?
Well, one, cut the hair earlier than I did, because it was definitely shaggy, and honestly, I had to wake up 20 minutes earlier just to go shower it, because it looked like I didn't get any sleep if I didn't shower it. But I think the number one thing I would tell myself is, you know, for one, social media, stay off of it. I read into it my freshman year, especially after my first start when we won. It was like, holy cow, I got 20+ notifications on Twitter. I'm the man now. I'm reading into everything. Just to be more mature and, you know, kind of go through that process as a pro, as far as how to handle yourself in the you know, social media world, and even with working. Not that I got complacent, but, you know, when you become a starter at a really young age, there might be some things down the road that you kind of get away with, and you know, you're not the guy fighting to come up. So I think that's what I would tell my young self, and at the same time, it's what I'm telling myself now as a rookie, that, you know, you might be working yourself into a spot, but, you know, once you finally get that spot, to act like you're still that rookie and you're fighting for it every single day.
Yeah, and, you know, unfortunately for you, the distractions only get worse, you know, as the NFL career goes on. What is it that you learned at Missouri to where you know you're going to stay the course?
Yeah, I think, you know, with just the different amount of adversity that I had through my 4 years there, that, you know, there's a certain level head that you're supposed to have. And I think that's also what I want to display in the locker room, that, you know, we can go through some really good times, we can go through some really bad times. I'm going to be the same guy every single day. And I think that's one of the main things I learned at Missouri, that, you know, when you start riding the waves, guys are going to look at you a little different. Guys may look at you positive one day and negative the one day when you ride the waves, because they're going to look at you and see how you portray yourself. So just keeping a level head, confident head, that's kind of the, you know, the path that I took that year, and that's what I'm going to bring into this.
4-year starter in the SEC, you're going up against future first-round picks every single week. What does that do for your confidence going forward to the next level?
I think it's huge. You look at it, SEC has the most draft picks every single year too. You're playing against freaks every single week. I go back to my freshman year and my sophomore year, throwing 2 picks a game against Florida, because we're playing Hargraves and Wilson and Tabor, and you play against some really good competition every single week, to where, you know, you come to the NFL, the speed will kind of be close to the same, but, you know, there's gonna be a little mental jump that people take, and I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, going forward, that I'm gonna have to prep for because the SEC was so good, comparing you and getting you ready for the speed and the toughness of the game.
Yeah. About that family legacy,
Mm-hmm.
your grandfather, your mother, your father, their son not only continues the legacy, he's a 3-time captain, a 4-year starter. Those conversations have to be special.
Yeah, no, it was one of the things that, looking back on, was probably one of the cooler things that happened to me in my 4 years at Missouri, because you look at all the wins and the losses and the touchdowns, and all that was really cool. But I got to bring my family together every single weekend, whether it was aunts, uncles, cousins, because they were all around Missouri, wanted to come to Columbia, wanted to support the team that they've been supporting their whole lives, whether that was also at Florida or at Georgia or at South Carolina. I got to bring people together and let them enjoy a Saturday watching football. So besides being able to run out on those stadiums and be a part of a team, I think that was really cool to be able to do that as well.
What was the dynamic of working to balance, being proud of your family lineage and your history in Columbia, Missouri, as well as being your own person and being your own man?
Yeah, and that kind of went back to the whole recruiting deal as well, because my dad was gonna let me be my own man and let me be my own person and choose where I wanted to go. But it ended up me adding on to that legacy, and it was a cool deal to be a part of. Me being on the same field as my grandpa and my dad once played on. I think it really added to my experience for sure.
Yeah, well, your family certainly had a joy watching you over the years. Now that you're removed from this team that you put 4 years of effort into, when you turn on the TV on Saturday, who are you going to be most excited to watch?
Yeah, when I turn the TV on, man, it's going to be those guys I play with. It's going to be Yasir Durant. It's going to be Tristan Castillo. It's going to be JJ. It's going to be those young receivers that we played with Cam and Jalen, and even Big AO, Big Albert, who's going to be on this stage next year, and JJ and a couple of those guys, and Yasir, man. I'm just excited to be able to watch them and watch them play, because I know what it's been like on that field. I know what they're going through, to be able to relate on a different level than maybe the normal people watching.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's peaks, valleys, it's a roller coaster. Who is someone that may not be on the radar right now? Missouri is scratching and clawing every single week, but who is someone who we will know their name by the end of next season?
100% Larry Roundtree. And I didn't even say it that first time going through, but I'm excited to watch him play. There's times where you'll catch me on a ball fake, not carrying out my ball fake, and that was to watch him run the ball. And he runs with, I'm choking up a little because I've seen him put his body on the line for me in pass protection. Seen him run into a gap where I'm like, dude, I'm not running into that gap. And he goes in full speed, puts his nose in there, and he puts his heart and soul on the line for the University of Missouri every day. And that holds a true spot in my heart because of how much I care about that place.
The Locke name has an incredible legacy, but when people think back to just Drew Locke, what do you hope that story is?
Yeah, I hope the people of Missouri and people at that university saw that whatever times we were going through, whether it was good, whether it was bad, that I stayed loyal to that university because of how much I loved it and put my heart and soul on the line there. We had Coach Pinkel leave my freshman year. Could have been an easy possibility of leaving that place. We had the strike on campus. Not the population, but the amount of people coming into the school went down. We didn't get very many recruits. It wasn't looking very good for our university, but I stayed there. And if I thought, one thing could bring this university back from that hard time my freshman year, it would be football. So staying loyal to that place and let them know that I really cared and tried to bring that place back.
And you certainly started that process. What do they need to do to make sure they take that next step and finish that process that you started?
Yeah, I think it's to not forget about all the things that we've been through. I think that senior leadership this year is going to be really good because there's some guys that were in my class that ended up redshirting that had been through it, that had seen the real lows of the lows, to not take things for granted, not take that 8-4 regular season this year with 2 losses at the last second and 2 losses at Alabama and Georgia. Like, it takes work to get to that point, and I think they need to keep that in mind, and if they do, then they'll be a really good football team.
it's annoying to even listen to him talk trash to somebody else. It's awful.
Biggest trash talker. Biggest trash talker I face would have to be West Virginia's whole defense. They talk trash, but I mean, I like to talk trash too. That's why I wear a mouthpiece.
On my team, Jalen Young, by far.
I've kind of faced a lot. Christian Wilkins, every day in practice, he just talk crap, and so it'd be fun to get him back at times.
Everybody on OU.
Jalen Samuels, J-Sam from the Steelers. He talks more, you guys know the word, than anyone I've ever been around. And it's funny because it's not his personality really, like off the field, but when he gets on that field, he's a straight gamer.
Dante Jackson, LSU.
Justin Lane was one of them when I was playing him. Me and him are actually good friends now, but at the time that was a heated battle.
I talk a lot of trash, but I say Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State. He talk a lot.
Jonathan Abram, Mississippi State.
I'll go with my own teammate. I'll probably say Johnny Dixon. Because when he gets fired up, he like to talk trash.
Oh my God. Biggest trash talker of all time. Not even just that I face, of all time. Tony Brown.
Faced quite a few, but if you talk trash, I talk trash back, and I end up shutting them up, so.
So you made a decision out of high school that on paper was crazy. It was insane. You give up a guaranteed opportunity of a scholarship somewhere to roll the dice and walk on at Clemson. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so I remember signing day like it was yesterday. I remember signing the paper on National Signing Day. It was like a blank piece of paper, but I looked cool. I looked good in front of the cameras. All my friends got to see me, but it literally meant nothing. It meant that I was going to walk on at Clemson, and for me, that was one of the best decisions I made. I remember junior year going into my senior year, I had 5 or 6 scholarships offers from some schools, and I really just I went to Clemson's football camp, and I remember Coach Scott, our co-offensive coordinator, offered me a preferred walk-on spot. And I remember Clemson had been a dream school of mine forever. And I remember driving back home to Myrtle Beach it's like a 4-hour drive, and really tearing up in the car and thinking, this was my dream to earn a scholarship at Clemson. Like, this is what I wanted to do. Why is it not working out? And I remember about halfway home, remember making a decision like, this is going to be a great thing for me. This is going to be a chance where I can earn everything. I'm not going to be given anything. I have to go out and earn it every day. And that's something that I think has helped me tremendously along the journey.
18 years old, you're walking onto a college campus, your head's spinning, everything's going crazy, let alone the fact that you walked onto a program when you could have taken a scholarship somewhere else. So that's also an added element. At what point did you feel comfortable? At what point did you feel, you know what, no more doubt, I 100% made the right choice?
Yeah, so for me, I redshirted. I was number 35 as a receiver.
That's pretty gross.
That's pretty nasty.
That's pretty gross.
That means you're not any good. Like, not even like good at all. And so I remember being on scout team our freshman year, and we had the number one team in the country, or the number one defense in the country that season. So we had Vic Beasley, Grady Jarrett, Stephon Anthony, TJ Green, Mackenzie Alexander. I went up against every single day. And for me, just being able to make plays against them on scout team, if I could make plays against those guys who's the best defense in the country, then I felt good against anybody. And so for me, that gave me confidence. It gave me confidence to go on the next season, and we played in the national championship. But I was not overwhelmed because of what I went against every day that season in practice.
In that redshirt year, and really for a couple years after that, you had an opportunity to learn from some of the best receivers that the NFL is looking at right now. I mean, Clemson, wide receiver U, I think is a justifiable nickname. So take me through the mindset of a young guy still learning how college football works, but able to learn from guys who you know are going to be high draft picks in the future.
Yeah. So one of the guys that has been a mentor to me my whole career, even when I was number 35, was a guy named Adam Humphries. And he just signed a good deal with the Titans. We still play golf in the summertime and train together. But he's a guy that kind of took me under his wing and just learned how to play the game, how to approach the game. And I thought I knew it all coming out of high school. I'd played all mine in the backyard. I didn't know anything. And so learning from Adam and all the guys, Mike Williams and Sharon Peak, all those guys, Artavis Scott, G-Hop, and them accepting me, because that was big for me. I thought I could play and I thought I belonged, but them really telling me I belonged and gave me the confidence to go out there performing. And Coach Sweeney's a great coach. He was a former receiver coach, and so he was always good to us. And Coach Scott as well, one of the best technique coaches in the country. And so we talk about how in crunch time you go back to your fundamentals and what got you there. And I think nobody does that better than Coach Scott.
Good times, bad times, tough times. Seems like Clemson guys are always still having fun, and that seems to be one of the core values of Coach Swinney. So in those early days, when did it click for you? When did you know this guy's going to develop me as a football player and as a man, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way?
Yeah, so me and Coach Swinney had an interesting relationship because we were both walk-ons, but his son was my roommate. And so there'd be a number of times where I'd walk into their house at 10 o'clock at night, and he'd be in his boxers, and we'd talk for an hour. And I remember my freshman year going, and I broke my pinky playing basketball at his house, and he called me the next day. And most coaches would be mad and like, what are you doing? And he was dying laughing, saying that's what happens when you come to the Swinney household. You better get ready to go, get ready to compete. And just his fun spirit. We want to play for a guy like him. It never feels like it's a job. It never feels like there are long days, but every day you feel like you're doing it for a purpose. And I think that's one of the reasons why Coach Swinney has been so successful. He makes it fun and wins a lot of games as well.
Any athlete, football or otherwise, hopes for that iconic moment that they're going to remember forever. And some guys chase it to their 15th year in the NFL. You got yours young on the national championship stage. What was that like for you?
Yeah, like you said, it was a great moment. And it was one moment. And so for me, it was something that I dreamed about forever. I mean, going to a school like Clemson, that was a dream of mine. Like, are you kidding me? Like that I grew up watching this team. I love this school, and just being able to watch all those teams that came before us, and the Taj Boyds and the Sammy Watkins and all those guys that I loved in high school, and I was able to be a part of that team and kind of grow off that team, the guys that came before us. And so it was a ton of fun. But hopefully that's not my last great moment. and hopefully I'll have some more to come.
Deshaun Watson, Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence, you've caught passes from a lot of great talent, but although all of them are talented, no two quarterbacks are the same. What did you have to do each offseason to develop your skills to adapt to a new guy throwing you the rock?
So a receiver, I had a baseball coach in high school that said the best ability in the world is availability. And so just being available, being a guy that is always there, always around, first one in, last one out, and just being able to, your quarterbacks and your teammates to trust you. And so every year you had to start over. It was different every year. It didn't matter if, like when we won in Tampa in 2017, we had to start over. It didn't matter if Deshaun was coming back or we had Kelly or Trevor the next year. We had to start over every single year and re-earn what got us there in the past.
Yeah, that's special. Now, what lessons, like you said, Dabo Swinney is a receiver guru. That's where his expertise was at. You look at yourself now versus the Hunter Renfrow wearing that nasty number 35 in that red shirt year.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of that you've added to your skill set?
So when I came in, I didn't know anything. I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I thought I knew, but the things that Coach Swinney has taught me, the people at Clemson have taught me, is just really the main thing I'll take away is just you have to earn everything. You can't rest on last year's success. Yesterday's home runs don't win today, and you just have to go earn it. And there's no shortcuts. You just have to go out every day and prove that you're the best guy for that spot. Be the best teammate you can be, and if you do that, you'll find success along the way, and you'll have fun doing it.
There's been a lot of NFL former Clemson players that you were able to learn from, and there's a lot of guys in that receiver room who learned from you. If I went to that room right now and said, what did you learn most from Hunter Renfrow, what would their answer be?
I hope their answer would be that he had fun doing it. He was a good teammate. I think people lose track when they care about their stats too much. Like for me, I had 1 touchdown last year, but we won all of our games, so I had like the time of my life. And so hopefully they learned that it's better to be selfless. You don't have to be a selfish guy. You can have a good career and only score twice at home. And so your time will come. Just stay committed and have fun doing it, and appreciate everything that has gotten you there, and appreciate your teammates, because you only get that opportunity one time. And so hopefully they saw me live that out every day.
What's the mindset of playing on a team that is every other opponent's Super Bowl? You know, when Clemson comes to town or when they come to Clemson, they're playing against a champion.
Yeah.
You know, no matter if it was this year, the year before, there was a championship in that tenure. And how do you stay up week in and week out? You cannot take a step back because you're getting every team's best effort.
Yeah, it's a blast. I mean, you'd rather have it that way than the other way. You'd
Sure,
rather be.
yeah.
You don't want to be anybody's homecoming. So we, for us, 2 things. One, we restarted every year. That was Coach Swinney's big thing. You restart every single year. You don't assume anything. And then 2, you play to a standard. You don't play to an opponent. And I know for every great team, you play to your standard. It doesn't matter if you're up by 50. There's a standard that we expect. Doesn't matter if you're the first guy or the third guy. We expect you to make that play. We expect you to go to class. We expect you to do all these things that it takes to be a great program. And then you expect it from one another, and you hold each other accountable.
If you could give advice to any college receiver thinking of walking on to a team right now, any high school kid who knows he has the talent but is currently being overlooked, what would you tell them?
I'd tell them that you're either good enough or you're not. Just have fun with it. There's no reason not to have fun. That kind of was my mentality in college. They didn't owe me anything, and so they didn't invest any money into me. They gave me an opportunity, which I'm forever thankful for, but I just went out there and I could play free. No one expected anything. I mean, if I'd sucked, then no one cared. And so I could just go out there and give it my all and not have any expectations. And that was just so fun for me. And then really to enjoy the moment. You only have one life, only one college experience, and so have fun with it. You don't want to go out there and be like, oh, it's a Tuesday practice. This is tough. You just want to go out there and have fun. So yeah, that's probably my advice I give.
So we start off in Spain,
Yeah.
and we go to South Carolina.
Mhm.
We go all the way out west, Stanford. Now we're all the way back on the East Coast. What have you learned about yourself through all this travel over all these years?
That's the biggest thing is, the world is a very diverse place. There's a common thing between people that you see over and over, but there's also like a lot of uncommon things, like interests. Like people love the Kardashians in Spain, people love the Kardashians here, but the diets are different, culture's different. It's just been an amazing journey, but definitely feel like Philly's home now.
And with all the people that you saw, even before you committed to Stanford, how did that influence your decision being so cultural, so diverse already?
Stanford was just one of the most cultural, diverse places. I went on campus and I saw all different kinds of races, all the different kinds of religions, different backgrounds, cultures. It's just a place where I wanted to surround myself with successful people. On my recruiting visit, Condoleezza Rice came and talked to our team, and then I ended up working for her last year. And that's the kind of experience that I wanted, and Stanford made it pretty clear that if that's the experience that you want, that's the experience you're gonna get.
And what was that process like, working under Condoleezza Rice, who spent plenty of time in the White House?
That was pretty cool. You'd be surprised, her football office has a lot more football stuff in it than you would think. One day I walked in to take inventory, and I counted like 3 or 4 football helmets, a couple jerseys, a bunch of books about football. It's just crazy to have a personal relationship with Condoleezza Rice. Before I met her, I was like, wow, I used to read her about her in books, see her on TV, and now I can, shoot a quick email or a quick text and say, hey, it's just like that.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Now, and it seems like that's just what comes with the Stanford experience. You don't know who you're gonna see when you're around that corner. You don't know who's gonna walk through that door and give a guest lecture.
Yeah, no, that's one of the biggest values that I learned at Stanford was you don't know who you're talking to, so you got to treat everybody the same. Because I could be talking to just an average Joe. I could be talking to the CEO of a company. I could be talking to Condoleezza Rice. One time I picked up the phone and talked to George Schultz. Didn't even know it until afterwards. And I didn't even know who he was until everybody in the office told me. It was like former secretary for, I think it was Ronald Reagan. I was like, yeah, this is definitely the place that you want to be.
And the student athlete, I guess, treatment at Stanford is different. You know, maybe you go to a small town, maybe you go to a school that doesn't have as much to offer outside of sports. Whereas Stanford, you're not the celebrity.
Yeah.
You're just one of the people, because everybody at that school with that degree is going to make an impact in the world. So was that less pressure? Was that a good thing? Was there a jealousy from some of your friends at some of these bigger football schools?
Yeah, no, definitely some give and take. I mean, like in my dorm room, like there's guys that are selling companies right now, or selling apps, you know, or building startups. And it's like, you know, they're like, yeah, like, you know, that's cool, you play football, but I am so-and-so, or I
got
do
my own
this,
stuff
I do
going
that.
on.
Yeah, it's like everybody there just wants to be successful, but at the same time, you miss a little bit of the college experience because, you know, you're not, you walk around and, I mean, I wouldn't say that nobody really cares who you are, but it's like you're not looked at as a football player or athlete, you're just looked at as another Stanford student. So you're not going to have the games where it's complete sellout, everybody's going crazy, but you're definitely going to be in an environment for people that set you up for success for the rest of your life.
Both parents play basketball on the professional level. How did that influence your life from picking a college to sitting in this seat right now?
It gave me, you know, they gave me a lot of insight. It was like living with two coaches, but you know, they always, you know, they told me from the beginning, if you don't want to play sports, or you know, we want you to be happy in whatever you're doing, and we want you to do it 100%. And I never felt the pressure to play sports, basketball, football, whatever it was. You know, they were just right there. You know, a lot of times, you know, our family conversations involved football and basketball because I'm the one who brought it up, not because they're the ones that brought it up. So just having that professional, you know, just advice, you know, around the corner, you know, all the time, it definitely gave me a lot of great insight. Looking forward to what's about to happen, what's happened in the past.
And I'm sure that support came in handy. There had to be some long nights there studying for those tests. Being a student athlete is tough wherever you go. Being a student athlete is dang near impossible when you're at one of the top institutions in the world. How did you balance that?
You know, balancing it was, you know, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard. You know, they expect you to be a Stanford student, not a Stanford student athlete when you're in the classroom. So you get treated just like everybody else does. You gotta do the same work, same projects, same readings. You know, you gotta attend every class. It's hard. But you know, they let you know what you're getting into before you sign up for it. Because the last thing that they want is to see somebody fail. They want everybody to succeed there, but it doesn't mean they're gonna make it easy. So, you know, and my parents were there for me, you know, mostly for the football side of things. You know, there's been times where, you know, I cried on the phone, like I didn't get to play or I didn't do well. And there's been times where I cried because I had a game-winning touchdown and my mom's, you know, crying on the phone before I even hear her pick up. So, you know, we've been through a lot of ups and downs. But that's the beauty of the sport is that, you know, you're gonna get knocked down, but as long as you get back up, you gotta keep going.
And a lot of ups and downs over your time at Stanford, but what was the moment where you said, you know what, if I keep doing this, I could be drafted one day if I keep on this path? What was that practice, that play, that moment, that game? What was it?
So, you know, it was crazy because in like a short week, everything changed for me. I was a sophomore, just come off a redshirt year. Then play the first 2 or 3 games, and you know, I'm calling my mom after the game. I'm like, Mom, like tears coming out of my eyes. Mom, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm starting to have doubts about myself. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, I don't know if I belong here. My mom and dad are both crying too. Like, you know, you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep pushing because they felt what I was going through. You know, it's not just a kid telling their parents, you know, what's going on. Like, they've experienced that themselves, so they really felt it. And the next week we played UCLA and I scored a game-winning touchdown. And I wasn't supposed to get in. And somebody got injured and they just threw me in there and scored a game-winning touchdown. And that's when my parents, I called them after the game and we had tears, but this time it was tears of joy. You know, so at that moment, that's when I was like, yeah, like I definitely deserve to be here and I'm definitely ready to be what I want to be. And I knew it was gonna be a long road ahead, but I knew that I had the right support system around me to get there.
Anybody who watches Stanford football, there's that undeniable Stanford X factor. I don't know if it's because you gotta be pretty dang smart to get into the school and it carries over to the field, but if you are not at the right place at the right time, a Stanford player will be, and they're gonna make you pay for it. Is it safe to say that the work in the classroom carries over to the field?
You know, you do have to be different to go to Stanford and accept the challenges in the classroom as long as on the field. But at the same time, like, you know, we're there because we love playing football. You know, we love the possibility that we get after it. But you ask anybody that plays Stanford football, they're there because they want to play Stanford football. And you know, whatever happens in the classroom, you know, that happens. You get your 1, 2, 3 hours of class every day, however long it is, and then that's put to the side, and then you go and grind with your brothers on the field. So, you know, you do have to be different to accept both extremes. But at the same time, like, we want to be there to be a great football team, and that's what our focus was on.
You won't be able to wear the shoulder pads anymore, but you'll be watching every Stanford game that you can,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. And
Oh,
as
yeah.
long as Coach Shaw's there, I know they're going to be in good hands. But who's a name that he is going to groom, that he is going to mold to where they'll be sitting in that chair in the future?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. You know, there's a lot of potential in that locker room. I think the biggest guy, you know, definitely KJ Costello, mostly because I've seen firsthand, you know, how he commands the huddle, how he throws the ball. You know, he's just a football player, you know, and got a lot of young receivers that are up and coming, a lot of great tight ends. The DB core, you know, have Obi, Evo, Paulson Adebo. Both of those guys are like 6'2", 6'3" corners that are fast, big, physical, quick. You know, those guys, I owe a lot to them because they got me here too, you know, grinding it out every day with them. So, yeah, no, those are just some names, but, you know, Stanford football's got a lot of talent out there. You got to tune in.
Some people refer to some guys as football coaches. Whenever you hear someone talk about David Shaw, they say a leader of men. So what is it that he put into you to where you know you're going to succeed at the next level?
You know, I remember this, you know, very vividly. The first time I had a team meeting, I was a freshman in the team meeting with all the seniors, juniors, sophomores, and, you know, he stood up in front of us and said, listen, like, my door's always open. I'm a head football coach, but I want to be known as a mentor. I want y'all to come in and ask me questions, and I never want y'all to feel lost or feel, you know, you don't know what to do. I've seen it all. I've been through it all. Please come and ask me questions, and I'll do everything that I can to put you in a place to succeed on or off the field. So when it comes to Coach Shaw, it's just like having, you know, a guy that, you know, he got there, you know, he's in this position for a reason. You know, he knows what to do to get there, and he's seen people fall, he's seen people rise, and, you know, all you got to do is just ask him what to do. And, you know, as a football coach, he's one of the best, but also as a person, you know, he's a great mentor for all of us. Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, not even close. Vanderbilt.
Least favorite locker room, Vanderbilt. It was god awful.
Cal, I'll say Cal.
Missouri.
Oh, Northwestern easily. It's literally as big as this room.
Troy locker room was terrible. It's like there was 100 guys in a locker room about the size of like a bathroom stall. It was awful.
Louisville was bad. I think they made some upgrades now and a little better, but it's like you sit in here and it's like this big and you got to share it with like another person.
Iowa.
Probably Iowa.
So you go in that locker room, it's small and it's pink in there. It's just kind of a weird feel.
The pink walls, and yeah, it was bad.
Clemson.
Purdue. They squish you in there. They try to make it like that.
Least favorite locker room would have to be Rutgers. They have a tough locker room, visiting locker room there. You're literally like stacked up on top of each other, so that's a tough one to be in.